So a lot of people have been talking about this new Gillette commercial that is focused on toxic masculinity. Now, you guys have probably seen this commercial because it's playing absolutely everywhere and everybody's talking about it right now. But it basically features a lot of scenarios where there's guys doing really crappy stuff, and it has this message about how the culture needs to change, and then towards the end of the video it shows a bunch of guys correcting other guys and really kind of trying to get them not to do those things, but also really emphasizing that message that right now kids are watching, male children are watching what the adults are doing, and sort of your behavior is going to impact that next generation. So this video has garnered a lot of controversy. It has gotten support from some folks. It's been absolutely trashed and vilified by others. And I was actually just watching YouTube, and I watched a guy that I usually really like his videos and watch fairly regularly, Wranglerstar, and he just posted a video about his point of view on it. And I gotta say, I'm really disappointed to hear his take on the whole thing. Now there are a lot of really good reasons to be skeptical about this Gillette commercial. There's so many good reasons to be skeptical about a large corporation, Procter & Gamble, that is using a major topical issue to garner attention in an attempt to sell more products. Because at the end of the day, whether you like the message or you despise the message that Gillette's putting out there right now, the message's ultimate goal and ultimate measure of success is, did it help them sell more razor blades? And now I know I might be a little bit cynical because I used to work in the advertising industry, but I really would push you all to recognize the fact that corporations are driven by profit. It is absolutely their ultimate goal, particularly publicly traded corporations. They are driven to act in the benefit of their shareholders as their primary concern. That means that Gillette or the parent company, Procter & Gamble, they are essentially trying to use this issue to draw attention to their brand, and in doing that, draw potentially favorability to their brand and drive sales for their brand. That is a fact. But that issue alone wasn't enough to make me want to flip on the camera and record this and post it. It was really Wranglerstar's awful take on the subject that inspired me to do this. Wranglerstar really got into this idea of, they are saying masculinity is toxic. And oh, look at this ad, they're trying to position things that men have been doing for years as toxic and awful, and they're saying masculinity in general is awful. And actually, that's not what the message of the commercial was. If you actually watch it and you actually pay attention, recognize that there is a difference between saying that there is toxic masculinity versus saying masculinity is toxic. There's two different things. Toxic masculinity is a real thing. It is a real problem, and it's something that's been going on for a long time. And the fact that we as a society are just starting to grapple with it, I think is important to know. And I personally hope that it brings about some good change. But it does make me say, how insecure are you to say that when you hear toxic masculinity, you're hearing that idea that masculinity is toxic? There are plenty of things about masculinity that are great, and I hope still long continue. But, sexual harassment, sexual abuse, bullying, that type of stuff isn't good. And so why would you want that to be an element of masculinity in the first place? And so if his whole rant about toxic masculinity wasn't enough to make me say, wait a minute, why am I subscribing to this guy on YouTube? Wranglerstar then proceeded to make the whole commercial about race and an assault on the white man. And he even goes to that tired line of, oh, I've worked with people of lots of different backgrounds. And he lists off, it's like, I've worked with Chinese people, and I've worked with Filipino people, and I've worked with people from Africa. I'll work with anybody. Like, how are you using that as your definer of you not being a racist? In fact, I would argue that people who are using that as their definer of not being a racist are most likely a racist. Most likely. Now, the commercial goes through a number of different scenarios showing a number of different men both acting badly and doing the right thing and correcting those who are acting badly. It shows them coming from a number of economic backgrounds, and it shows them coming from a number of racial backgrounds. But for whatever reason, The one scene where there's a black guy who corrects the bad actions of a white guy and says, hey dude, you shouldn't be doing that. That was the scene that absolutely triggered Wranglerstar and made him feel like he was under assault. That term snowflake gets kicked around an awful lot, but you know what? I gotta say, I think it might actually be appropriate here. Look, as a white guy, I would like to say to Wranglerstar, another white guy, that we have historically in the United States of America as white guys been in a position of power. And while we've been on this trajectory as a society towards greater racial and gender equality, we're far from there. And I believe you should be using your position of privilege to help those who may not have a voice. And you shouldn't be using it to try to preserve some sort of crumbling status quo. Look, nobody likes to be scolded and nobody likes to be called out for not doing the right thing. But Wranglerstar, I gotta say, I don't think you did the right thing here. I don't think your message is helping us as a collective society. In fact, I think it's hurting us and making it more divisive. You come from a position of power, like it or not. You have more than 1 million subscribers on YouTube. There are a lot of people who listen to what you say on a regular basis. And if you use that platform and you use that voice to try to drive a greater wedge amongst people in society, I gotta say, shame on you, dude. Come on, you better than that. I mean, the only reason I'm even making this video is I feel this connection and kinship with you from watching your videos over the years. And I actually found you to be one of those people that really motivated me to get up off the couch and change my life and move out to the middle of nowhere and try to start a farm. And you using your voice in this way, it just disappoints me. It doesn't bring good to the world. And so I really wish you'd get back to showing me which $9 axe on Amazon actually works the best, and get out of this mindset where everybody's against you as the white man in society. It's kind of ridiculous, and I just think it makes you look foolish. If you want to have a conversation about this too, I'd be happy to. And I'm not talking, doing it over comments or Twitter or whatever. I'm talking about having a real conversation, because it just, as a fan, it disappoints me. And I know you'll probably write me off and you'll write this off, and you probably won't even see this video, and a couple of your fans will see it and call me some dumb social justice warrior, but believe me, I'm furthest thing from it. I'm just a guy who's out here trying to say to you, man, you gotta use your platform for good. You gotta use your platform to make this world a better place. And I think in the message you're really starting to spread more and more about this weird persecution complex that you have, you're not doing that. And in fact, I think you're making it a worse place. It disappoints me.